The man just went to get a haircut, but ended up having his ear cut off by the barber. The paramedic took a closer look. My goodness, the entire ear was completely gone. This surprised the paramedics greatly. Just a moment ago, the barber panicked and said he had the man up in the chair, and his foot hit the lever. The chair slipped. The paramedics hurriedly followed inside. The room was filled with a man's screams. A man widened his eyes, accusing the barber of cutting off his ear. The paramedic slowly removed the towel to see. There was a large hole in the man's head. The paramedic asked the barber to grab a plastic bag, filled it with ice for her, then quickly began to bandage the man. Soon the bag was brought. The paramedic put the fallen ear in the bag, ready to take it to the doctor to fix the ear back on his head, then asked the man,
"Can you walk?
What?
Can you walk?"
Yeah, I can walk. He has a couple of legs off, at least not yet.
At this point, the barber was too scared to know what to do. They had just left when another barber shouted.
Who's next?
The firefighters were called out to a unit. A woman told them it was a false alarm, blaming it on electrical work being done. Casey led the team inside to investigate. They noticed an eerie atmosphere and signs of damage to a picture frame on the wall. Using thermal imager, the firefighter discovered a fire in the wall. Casey pulled down the fabric covering and revealed a safe with visible damage. He realized it was a safe robbery. At that moment, the robbers took the firefighters hostage.
Two firemen on the floor face down.
One of the robbers continued trying to open the safe. Meanwhile, the wall caught fire. Casey warned that they didn't have time to open the safe as the smoke would overwhelm them.
You got about 3 minutes until this entire place is engulfed and you're all dead.
As the fire intensified, the room filled with smoke. Gasping for air, everyone evacuated one by one.
Come on, walk down.
Finally, Casey seized an opportunity and knocked the last robber to the ground. An apartment fire raged across 16 units, with families stranded in rooms throughout.
Nice and slow.
As they carefully rescued each person, Boden noticed black smoke emerging from the rooftop. He called for an evacuation.
All right, I'm calling it. Evacuate the building. Evacuate the building right now.
Just as Casey was about to leave,
My baby! Please help me!
Hermit!
My baby, she's in her crib. She's inside veterans.
Take her. Get her out of here. I'm going after the baby.
he opened a door and found a baby safe and sound. He held the baby close to his chest and rushed out. But by then, the fire had engulfed the hallway. Outside, the team waited anxiously. But just as Casey found an exit, a beam collapsed on him and the baby. The squad rushed in to save them. With everyone's efforts, Casey and the baby were rescued, but Casey had already fallen unconscious. They rushed him to the hospital.
Come on. Come on.
Everyone waited at the hospital for news about Casey. Dawson cried as she watched the nurses prepare him for the procedure, uncertain if he would survive. The alarm goes off and a call comes in for a motorcycle accident. The rider crashed into a cafe. They arrive and find the rider of the motorcycle completely impaled on the glass window.
The guy swerved to avoid a car and hit the curb. It launched like a missile.
Casey thinks that he is dead, but then he leans forward and the driver mumbles, "Help me," as blood squirts out of his mouth. Sylvie and Chili rush to help Casey with the man impaled on the glass.
Shallow breathing, rapid pulse. We don't transport him fast, he's gonna bleed out.
Meanwhile, the rest of the crew tries to get rid of the rubberneckers and pedestrians trying to record the whole thing on their call phones.
Back off. Hey, back off!
While Casey is trying to make the cars keep moving, one woman actually hits him with her car. He gets up and dusts himself off and rushes back to the cafe to help the EMTs. Otis cuts the glass that is cut into the man's stomach, and they load him onto a stretcher with the piece of the window still sticking out of him. Paramedics were called out. A woman said she heard someone coming in through the back door. She thought it was an intruder, so she stabbed him before realizing he was just her neighbor Louise. Paramedics were shocked to see the man was stabbed with a fork. Even more shocking, it was directly in his heart.
Oh my God.
The immediate priority was to secure the fork. Dawson asked if the woman had a bundt cake pan with a hole in the center.
Yeah, I got one.
As a new paramedic Chow was a bit confused, Dawson told him to rock and roll. Then Dawson carefully slid the cake pan over the fork and secured it with tape. Now they were ready to transport the man to the hospital. A car collided with a bike. The rider unexpectedly rolled into the sewer. What's even more worse is the car fled away. A man was working at the restaurant. When he heard someone calling for help through the drain pipe, curiously he approached, and what he saw shocked him. Firefighters quickly arrived, but the thermal imaging showed no one in the drain pipes and no sound was heard. Eddie couldn't help but doubt the man. After all, there was so much metal here, it could be an echo from the street. But the man was very sure, and the sound sounded particularly desperate. It didn't seem to come from the walls, but more like from the bottom drain pipes.
Not sure that's possible. Drain pipe's only 3 inches.
Just then, a faint cry for help suddenly came out, and everyone heard it. Could someone really be stuck in the drain pipes?
Help me, please.
See?
Hello?
At that moment, the restaurant manager rushed over. Security video showed a car hit a guy before fleeing. It was a hit and run. The firefighters opened the sewer manhole, and sure enough, the rider was inside. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously injured. He broke his leg.
Guess someone's going into the sewer. I'm going into the sewer, aren't I?
The man's hand suddenly went out of control. The firefighters stepped forward to intervene.
It's not me! It's me!
Just moments ago, the man was giving a speech on stage, but in the halfway, his right hand suddenly disobeyed him. Though the man tried hard to stop it, his uncontrollable right hand kept attacking himself relentlessly. Witnesses at the scene dialed 911. The firefighters upon arrival were perplexed.
You think I want to hurt myself?
I think he's suffering from alien hand syndrome, Cap.
That's not a real thing.
A paramedic assessed that something was wrong with the man's brain, while his right hand instinctively signaled danger. The captain immediately instructed to firefighters to restrain the man. What puzzled Buck, however, was that the man's arm was surprisingly strong. Meanwhile, the paramedic asked if the man had suffered an irregular heartbeat lately. He mentioned he had been tested for that a couple of weeks ago. It was then revealed that a blood clot from his heart had likely entered his brain, creating a disconnect between the brain and the hand. However, just then, the man suddenly locked Buck. The firefighters responded to a serious accident involving multiple cars and victims. A blue minivan's front had been severely deformed. The firefighters saw booster seats inside the car. After confirming that no children were inside, they began breaking the window. At that moment, Chief Boden smelled gasoline. He ordered the team to get the hose ready. Casey entered the car and discovered the driver was badly injured and pinned inside. On the other side, there were two bleeding passengers. Suddenly, the driver stepped on the gas.
Get your foot on the cap! It caused the whole thing! Was driving like a lunatic!
Kelly quickly asked the paramedic to give him a sedative. The new crew member Chout hesitated for a moment, but eventually succeeded in administering the injection. On Casey's side, the petite paramedic Dawson climbed inside and performed basic first aid on the woman. They successfully freed her using hydraulic struts. At that moment, the car erupted into flames. In a critical moment, Casey shielded Dawson beneath him. The rest of the team quickly extinguished the fire. Finally, both escaped the car safely.
Why is this window open? Oh no. Chief, I think somebody was ejected.
The girl could have fallen out wherever the bus first lost control. We are gonna shut down the road, run a search.
My guys have been up and down this road. They didn't see any.
You do realize you have a girl that is unaccounted for.
Yes, I did it
You
all.
have an open emergency exit. Somebody was ejected. I'm shutting down this road.
I can't let you do that.
Go ahead, Cruz.
This is my scene, Chief. Are you really gonna make me arrest you?
You know what? You're just gonna have to do what the hell you need to do. Really?
You picked the wrong cop to piss off.
Oh, I haven't even started on you. Seen this?
Yes, I am, Chief. I got it! We need a bag for it. Half a black bag. Officer Woodall, is this really the hill you want to die on? Hey, no harm, no foul.